In this video, we will show you how to install your WD Electronics turn signal kit compatible with 2019 or newer CFMoto UFORCE 1000 and 1000 XL. The center hood panel is held in with plastic push pins that slide into rubber grommets. Carefully pry the front edge of the panel to release the 3 pins. Slide back the panel and lift up to remove. Remove the black plastic cover located underneath the driver's side headlight. It's held in with 4 plastic clips in the locations shown. Repeat on the other side to remove the passenger's side cover. Locate the large rubber grommet on the driver's side of the firewall where the large factory harness passes through. Unwrap the black electrical tape that is sealing the opening of the grommet. This will allow you to run cables underneath the dashboard through the firewall. Now, you will install the turn signal lever to the steering column. Use a 10mm socket and wrench to remove the nut from the right side of the bolt for the tilt piston. Leave the bolt installed with the thread sticking out on the right side. Hold the turn signal lever with the WD logo facing you and install the open hole on the bracket over the threads on the right side of the tilt piston bolt. You may need to rotate the bracket to fit it over the bolt. Once you have the bracket installed, hold the body of the switch parallel to the face of the steering wheel and reuse the factory nut to secure it in place. Feed the wiring on the turn signal lever underneath the dash into the space below the instrument cluster where you will connect it in the next step. Now, you will mount the control module underneath the hood. Our recommended location is directly in front of the brake fluid reservoir on the flat panel with 2 cylindrical posts sticking up from it. Locate the 8-pin connector clipped into the plastic under the hood. Unclip the 8-pin connector from the plastics and move it out of the way. This connector will be used in a later step. Use a razor blade to carefully trim off the post located furthest from the center of the machine. Install the corner hole of the control module over the remaining post with the 4 plugs facing the rear of the machine. Mark the location of the hole on the opposite corner of the flat panel using a marker or a center punch. Remove the control module and drill out a 3/8 inch hole in the location you marked. Be extremely careful when drilling this hole as the location is close to the radiator and hoses. Do not use hard downward pressure or you risk the drill bit coming through and damaging the radiator. Insert one of the rubber well nuts into the hole so that the flange is flush. Place the control module back into place over the plastic post and rubber well nut. Use the silver panhead bolt to secure the control module to the well nut. Keep firm downward pressure on the fastener as you tighten so that the rubber well nut expands on the back side to grip the plastic. Use the small self-tapping screw on the other side and carefully screw it into the plastic post to secure the control module. Route the wiring for the turn signal switch down under the fender through the hole near the winch block. Route the end of the cable with the transparent yellow connector through the firewall grommet. Remove the instrument cluster inside the cab of the machine. It's held in with the same plastic pins as the hood panel on the front edge. Carefully pop the front edge of the panel free and slide the cluster back to release the two alignment tabs on the back edge. Locate the wiring you ran from the control module through the firewall under the dashboard and connect it to the wiring for the turn signal lever. Make sure that the connectors fully snap into place. Depending on the trim of your UFORCE, it may or may not come equipped with a 3-post bus bar from the factory, located behind the fuse box under the hood. We include 2 power cables, one with ring connectors for models with a bus bar, and one with exposed pins for models not equipped with a bus bar. You will only use one of the provided power cables. Select the power cable you will use and connect it to the control module using the mating bullet connectors. Verify that the wires are connected red to red and black to black, and that the plastic insulation is fully covering each connection. Wait to connect the other end of the power cable until everything is installed to minimize the risk of blowing fuses. Now, you will install the front signal harness with 6 3/4-inch amber LEDs. We recommend mounting them directly below the headlight on each side of the machine. Tape off the area in your desired mounting location. Mark the location for the 3 3/4-inch holes on each side. The holes you drilled will be 3/4 of an inch, but the diameter of the rubber grommet on each LED is 1 1/16 inch, or 28 millimeters, when installed. There are plastic support fins on the back side of the panel that you can feel with your hand. Space your holes so that each LED is centered in between 2 of the support fins. Once you've confirmed the location of your LEDs, carefully drill out the holes. The plastic is 2 layers thick below the headlights. Carefully drill through both panels using a hole saw or spade bit. Remove the tape and any plastic shavings from the holes. Unwrap the harness and locate the side with the driver's side label, located 6 inches from the LEDs. Starting on the driver's side, slip the black rubber grommets off of the LEDs onto the black and white wires. Feed 1 LED through the back side of each of the holes you drilled. Then feed the rubber grommets through the back of the holes. Install a rubber grommet into each hole, making sure that they are installed evenly. Now press the amber LED back into each rubber grommet from the front to secure them. Feed the 4-pin connector on the harness up through the bottom of the hole near the bus bar or winch block, following factory wiring as closely as possible. Under the hood, route and connect the 4-pin connector to the mating connector on the control module. Feed the other side of the front signal harness across the machine, following factory wiring and the metal frame in front of the radiator. Repeat the installation on the passenger side of the machine. Secure the wiring away from any hot or moving components using the included zip ties. Open the tailgate and remove the Phillips head screw from each side of the tailgate opening. Underneath the dump bed near each taillight, remove the silver 10mm bolt. Locate the white connector on the driver's side taillight and carefully disconnect it by lifting the locking tab on the larger connector up with your fingernail and sliding the small inner connector free. Install the driver's side adapter with the extra black and blue connector in line with the factory taillight wiring. Make sure that you hear both sides click into place. Locate the white connector at the passenger side taillight and carefully disconnect it by again lifting the locking tab on the larger connector up with your fingernail and sliding the small inner connector free. Install the passenger side adapter with the long white wire in line with the factory taillight wiring. Make sure that you hear both sides click into place. Remove the three 10mm bolts in the silver heat shield in the center of the bed in the locations shown. Now, you will route the long white wire across the bed following the factory wiring to the driver's side taillight. Follow the factory wiring as closely as possible with the white wire underneath the heat shield and to the driver's side taillight cavity. Secure with zip ties along the length of the white cable. There should now be 3 wires with bullet connections, red, black, and white, at the driver's side taillight. You will connect these wires in the next step. Remove the front center floor panel. It's held in with 4 10mm bolts, 1 on each corner. On XL models, with a second row of seating, remove the center rear floor panel as well. It is held in with the same 4 10mm bolts as the front panel. Locate the large black cable with the 3-pin connector and the 3 inner wires. Start under the hood and connect the 3-pin connector to the mating connector on the control module. Feed the cable down under the driver's side fender using the hole near the winch block. Locate the cable under the fender and follow the large factory harness as closely as possible down the firewall and underneath the floor panel. Locate the cable underneath the front floor panel. Pull the length of cable through and continue following the factory harness back underneath the floor. For XL models with a second row of seating, locate the cable under the second row floor panel. Pull the length of cable through and continue following the factory harness back underneath the floor. Lift the tilt bed up and locate the cable on the driver's side of the machine. Continue following the thick factory cable up to the frame, following the wiring on the driver's side frame and up to the heat shield underneath the bed. Remove the 10mm bolt holding down the heat shield and follow the factory wiring underneath all the way to the driver's side taillight. At the driver's taillight, Make the 3 connections between the long black cable and the taillight adapters using the color-coded bullet connections. Make sure to connect the wires red to red, black to black, and white to white, and that the plastic insulation is fully covering each connection. Go back and secure the black cable to the factory wiring harness along the length of the machine with the included zip ties. Secure the white wire underneath the bed as well. Choose an open rocker switch slot in your dash, either in the center switch panel or near the key cylinder. Pop out the plastic cover from the slot and discard it. Locate the horn harness with the rocker switch. Install the whole horn harness through the slot, verify that the rocker switch is facing the correct direction, and clip the switch into place in the dash. Locate the black and blue 2-pin connector and the black and red wire with spade connectors behind the dash. Route both wires to the firewall grommet under the dashboard and feed them through. Locate the wiring on the other side of the firewall and feed both wires up underneath the hood near the winch block, following the other wiring you previously ran. Connect the 2-pin connector to the mating connector on the control module. Install the round end of the bracket onto the stud on the horn housing using the gold nut. Tighten the bracket hand tight. Choose a suitable bolt under the hood. The location we recommend is shown here. Remove the bolt and hold the horn up to the mounting point. Reinstall the bolt and tighten it down. Route the zip cable with the red and black spade connectors across the hood and connect them to the horn housing in either direction. These connections are reversible. Orient the opening of the horn facing down so that it won't collect water. Tighten the bolts on the horn housing down to secure the housing. You may need to bend the bracket down slightly to clear the hood panel. Using the license plate as a template, mark the position for the 2 holes using a marker or center punch. Tilt the dump bed up and verify that the bracket cannot contact anything, the tire, the frame, or the exhaust, with the bed tilted all the way up. Use the 2 included self-tapping screws to secure the bracket to the frame. Cut a small 1/4 to 1/2 inch tab out of the top of your license plate for the wires on the LED frame to come through. Bend the tab over so it lays flat, or cut it off. Install your trimmed license plate into the LED frame. Line up the 2 top holes on the frame with the holes on the mounting bracket. Secure the frame and license plate to the mounting bracket using the 4 included black bolts and nylon lock nuts. Connect the power cable to the LED frame using the mating bullet connectors. Verify that it is connected red to red and black to black, and that the plastic insulation is fully covering each connection. Route the other end of the cable with the 2-pin connector across to the driver's side taillight adapter that you installed in Step 5. Connect the cable to the mating 2-pin connector on the driver's side taillight adapter, making sure that they fully clip together. Secure the wiring away from any hot or moving components. Any extra length of cable can be secured in the space behind the taillight. Locate the 8-pin connector that you unclipped from the plastic near the control module. Disconnect the empty dummy connector from the connector with wiring by depressing the locking tab and sliding the connector free. Use a micro screwdriver, a pick, or another small tool to remove the blue cavity plugs from the 2 positions shown. Locate the dash indicator harness in your kit. It has a 4-pin connector on one end and 2 exposed male terminals on the other end. Insert the 2 exposed pins as shown. Reconnect the newly pinned connector back to the factory wiring. The red wire labeled driver's side should line up with an orange wire across the connectors, and the black wire should line up with a light blue wire across the connectors. Route the 4-pin connector to the control module and connect it using the mating connector. Secure the wiring with zip ties. For machines that are not equipped with a factory bus bar, locate the 3-pin connector on the firewall above the fuse box. Carefully unclip the connector from the firewall. Remove the 3-pin dummy connector from the mating connector by lifting the locking tab up and sliding the small inner connector free. Use a micro screwdriver, a pick, or another small tool to remove the brown plugs from the 2 positions shown. Locate the end of the power cable for the control module that you connected earlier and insert the 2 pins into the connector as shown. Reconnect the newly pinned connector on the power cable to the 3-pin connector and clip it back into the firewall. Secure any extra length of wiring with zip ties. For machines that are equipped with a factory bus bar, locate the end of the power cable on the 2-ring terminals that you connected earlier. Route the end of the power cable across to the center of the machine near the bus bar, located behind the fuse box on the firewall. Remove the plastic bus bar cover. Remove the nut on the far left post labeled ACC and connect the red ring connector. Reinstall the nut. Remove the nut in the middle position labeled B- and connect the black ring connector. Reinstall the nut. Do not connect the red ring connector to the constant battery post on the far right labeled B+, or you risk accidentally leaving your signals on and draining your battery even if the machine is keyed off. Now, you're ready to reassemble and test out your lights.